Got a little something going on here. Keep insurrectionists off the ballot. This is from freespeechforthepeople.org. Public interest groups call on secretaries of state to sign declaration barring Donald Trump from the ballot under Section 3 of the 14th Amendment. You all know I love talking about the 14th motherfucking amendment. I love talking about particularly Section 3. In fact, I probably talk about this on my show every single day, and I probably have talked about this on my show every single day since January 6, 2021. And now, other people are listening. I take credit for this. I know. The nonprofit, nonpartisan legal advocacy group Free Speech for the People and and the grassroots advocacy group Our Revolution are calling on secretaries of state across the country to follow the mandate of Section 3 of the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution and sign a declaration that former President Donald Trump is barred from running for any future public office based on the incitement of an insurrection on January 6, 2021. Now, again, I would go further. This is my compromise position. This is my middle ground. Every Republican that voted to object to the 2020 election counting on January 6th, throw them out. All of them, every single one of them. They should all not be allowed to be running in the midterms. Matt Gaetz, what? Is that a joke? Josh Hawley, what? I mean, I don't think he's up for re-election. But all of these people that voted to object, they should all be gone. Now, that's my compromise position. My actual opinion is that Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris also should all be tossed out under 14th Amendment Section 3. Because, again, 14th Amendment Section 3 says that if you engage in an insurrection or give aid or comfort to those engaging in an insurrection, you are banned from office. I would say when Cori Bush introduced a resolution to invoke the 14th Amendment Section 3 the week of January 6th's insurrection, and Nancy Pelosi said, no, don't do that, and Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Chuck Schumer all said, no, don't do that, they are giving aid and comfort to those that engage in an insurrection. They're saying, let's not hold them accountable. They get a get-out-of-jail-free card. So, again, my compromise position, leave the Democrats out of this, get rid of the obstructionist Republicans, okay? That's my compromise. But the real, actual interpretation of the 14th Amendment Section 3 would say that Nancy Pelosi, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer all should be thrown out in the garbage with the rest of them because they're giving aid and comfort to those engaging in insurrection. If you say, I'm going to commit an insurrection against the United States of America, right? And then the Republicans all go all right, I'm right there with you. I'm going to do that too. And then Democrats are all right, we're not going to hold any of them accountable because they're our colleagues. Sounds like aid, sounds like comfort. I don't know, man. Think about it. But anyway, let's keep going. Enacted in the wake of the Civil War, Section 3 of the 14th Amendment disqualifies any individual who has taken an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution and then engages in an insurrection or rebellion against the United States or gives aid or comfort to those who have from holding future public office. Aid and comfort. Again, protecting Republicans from any consequences sounds like aid, sounds like comfort. Maybe you disagree, maybe it's not aid, maybe it's not comfort, but it sounds like fucked up shit to me. So I say Nancy Pelosi should also be thrown into the garbage can under 14th Amendment Section 3. That's my opinion. Fuck that stupid ass bitch. The declaration prepared by Free Speech for People carefully details why Donald Trump is constitutionally barred from appearing as a candidate on future ballots. The declaration includes citations to case law affirming the role state election officials have in determining a candidate's constitutional eligibility. Relevant facts of the events leading up to and including the insurrection on January 6th, the legal analysis and definition of insurrection, and engage. I would also say again, aid and comfort. The distribution of the declaration is the newest initiative of the 14.3 campaign, a national project co-led by Free Speech for People and Our Revolution, in addition to sending the declaration to secretaries of state across the country. The campaign is actively mobilizing grassroots supporters to urge their secretaries of state to sign the declaration. To date, over 50,000 people have signed petitions urging their election officials to act. Quote, secretaries of state have a duty to ensure the candidates who seek to appear on their state ballots meet the constitutional qualifications for serving a public office, says Alexandria Flores Quilty, campaign director for Free Speech for People. We are urging them to follow the Constitution and declare that Donald Trump is barred from ever holding public office as required under 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Now, again, I'm going to go even further because I'm not fucking around. I don't give a fuck about this about norms. I don't give a fuck about decency. I don't give a fuck about protecting any of these corrupt motherfuckers. I'm going to go even further and say if any Secretary of State refuses to do this and allows Donald Trump on the ballot, they're giving aid and comfort to someone that engaged in an insurrection. They're giving aid to Donald Trump, allowing him to run, and giving comfort to Donald Trump, allowing him to run, who, again, engaged in an insurrection against the United States of America. Any Secretary of State that allows Donald Trump's name to appear on any ballot, get rid of him. 14th Amendment, Section 3. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Get rid of him. Bye-bye. 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 Shut the fuck up. Do not pass go. Shut the fuck up. Go to jail forever and go fuck yourself, okay? I don't give a fuck, all right? All of these fucking garbage man motherfuckers, again, throw them the fuck out. Throw them out. Throw them into that weird landfill that's at, like, the nexus of all the fucking oceans, like, fucking flow routes or whatever, you know, that garbage pile in the middle. Throw them all the fuck out. If you are giving aid and comfort in the form of not holding them accountable, sorry, get the fuck out. And also, again, where are our progressive leaders in Congress that are going to say this shit? Say what needs to be said. Why doesn't AOC or Cory Bush or Bernie or Elizabeth Warren or whatever one of these motherfuckers, why don't they go out there and say, hey, either you get them off the ballot or we get you off the ballot too? It's that, like, does anyone give a fuck about the Constitution? Obviously, no. Obviously, the Constitution isn't real. Now, the real world here, we need to understand this. The Constitution is not real. There is no Constitution. It doesn't exist. It's made up. The Constitution is a piece of paper that a bunch of dead slave owners signed off on, and that's it. You think you have a First Amendment right to free speech in this country? What? Is that a joke? Are you joking? We saw in 2020 that journalists were getting shot in the face by police in 2020. You think you have a right to freedom of the press? Or is that a joke? Freedom of assembly? We saw what happened in 2020. People were getting shot and killed by cops for protesting in 2020. You don't have a peaceful right to peaceful assembly. You don't. You don't have a right to free press. What? Are you joking? Is that Second Amendment? Right? Clearly states you need a well-regulated militia to have guns. Now, again, the Second Amendment initially was there so that slave owners were allowed to have slave patrols to shoot and kill escaped slaves. That's why the Second Amendment exists. For police forces, it doesn't exist so that random dumb fuck motherfucker can have a rocket launcher, right? But again, the Constitution doesn't matter. Let's look at the Fourth Amendment. Let's look at the Fifth Amendment, right? The Sixth Amendment, Seventh Amendment, Eighth Amendment. All of these amendments, they don't matter. Cruel and unusual punishment, unreasonable search and seizure, right? The right to not incriminate yourself, the right to due process, the right to a public jury if you're a trial jury with your peers. None of this stuff exists. It's all fake. It's fake. It's not real. It's not real. I need you to understand. It's not real. If a black person can go to court and get judged by a jury of all white racists, that's not a jury of his peers. That's not a jury of his peers. Is this a joke? Right? If a black child is punched in the face several times and forced to confess to a crime that they never did, there's no right, Fifth Amendment protection to incriminate yourself. That doesn't exist. Right? So again, the Constitution is made the fuck up. It doesn't exist. It's not real. So I need you to understand, none of that shit matters. It's not real at all. The only thing that matters is what people in power do with the power that they have. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Nothing else is real. There is no Constitution. It's a made up piece of paper. It's all garbage. But again, people in this country love to pretend that the Constitution matters. So as long as people in this country want to pretend that the Constitution means anything, we have to fucking read that shit and enforce that shit. And if we don't enforce 14th Amendment Section 3, then there is no fucking Constitution. It's not real. It's made up. It's a piece of paper that it's fan fiction. It's like looking at the Bible. Some stupid motherfucker wrote it down, made it up, and then now we're just gonna read it and we interpret it later. That's it. The Constitution isn't like a magical document that's like embarked by God or whatever, and it's merged with the laws of physics and the universe. It doesn't matter. No one follows that shit anyway. Look at Japanese internment camps in the 1940s. None of that shit fucking matters. Are you fucking joking? This is a joke. Anyway, so I support this. As long as anyone in this country is going to pretend that the Constitution is real, we need to actually talk about 14th Amendment Section 3. I mean, we need to talk about the entirety of the 14th Amendment as a whole, right? But Section 3 in this instance, it needs to be on the forefront of all of these conversations, unless we can all just admit there is no Constitution. And guess what? If there is no Constitution, I'm going to go even further. Is there a Senate? Why the fuck are people paying senators to sit around and take our rights away? There's no Constitution. The 14th Amendment doesn't exist. Does the Supreme Court exist? Why are people wearing bed sheets and Snuggies to work allowed to take our right to an abortion away? If the 14th Amendment Section 3 doesn't exist, then none of that stuff exists. It's fake. It's made up. So just throwing that out there, food for thought. But there you go.